Hi there. Okay, let me try and get my camera set up. Okay, so I'm going to start teaching you some of these strategies to cope with your stress, especially with food, okay? But first we're going to kind of recap around the brain, about the brain, and I have my notes here that I'll be looking at, okay? So first off, let's talk about, we have our prefrontal cortex, okay? This is our logical side of the brain. When I teach children about this, this is called the wise owl, okay? So then back here is your emotional side of the brain, okay? We'll call that the watchdog. So your sympathetic nervous system, that's your fight or flight. That's your watchdog. That's your go time, okay? So for you to react or respond to whether it's an emergency or your feelings, okay? So specifically, think about with food, okay? Even like a scent can trigger something. Like you smell like the funnel cake, or you smell the butter noodles or whatever, and it may take you to a specific memory from your childhood. Not even that you're really thinking about it, but it kicks in and it's like, oh my gosh, I need that. So what's happening is it's engaging your sympathetic nervous system, okay? It's engaging that emotional part of your brain. And so what happens is your heart rate is going to go up, and your wise owl, your logical part, is going to completely flood out on you. And so the blood is going to flow to the reptilian, it's part of your brain, and that's going to tell your midbrain to kind of go back to what is going to calm you, okay? And this typically is going to be your kick in your addiction cycle, whether that's turning to food for comfort. It's the food that calms you. It's the greasy, it's the crunchy, it's the sweet, okay? For some people, this might actually be substance abuse. Like, oh, I just have to, go home and have my couple beers or whatever. This could be acting out behaviors. This could be a whole mess of things, but I'm guessing for us in this group that means I gotta eat my french fries and my Diet Coke or whatever it is, okay? So really it all starts with your brain. And so when your guard dog comes out, your wise owl, your reasoning just goes out the window, all the guidelines and everything. So most diets and therapy, it starts with here. They work on this part and this part alone, which this part is great, and we have to address that logical part of our brain, right? But if it's not addressing the emotional part, if it's not changing this part, you aren't creating lasting change in your life, okay? So we need, instead of working from the top down, we need to bottom up, okay? So I might use that term a little bit. We always want to bottom up, okay? So when you're having a crisis with food, like me last night, how I posted, oh my gosh, I totally want junk food, I'm feeling the struggle, So I want to make sure that the technique that I'm using is not from the top down, but that I'm bottoming up, which is going to be these techniques that I'm going to show you. So the sympathetic nerves, that's when your heart is going and your blood pressure goes up and everything. Your parasympathetic is when it's going to bring you back down to where you need to be, okay? So this first one is called Tapas, T-A-P-A-S, okay? So this is where you're going to take your ring finger and your thumb, put it right here in your nose, that little bridge on your nose, and then take your pointer finger and find like that third eye. It's kind of like in between your eyebrows but right above it, okay? And you're just going to apply pressure here. I know I look crazy. Okay. So what you're doing here is actually in that third eye area, you have parasympathetic nerves, okay? So it is going straight to that part of your brain. So when you do this and you hold it and you apply pressure right there, you basically are telling your brain, I am calm, I am safe, I am okay. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to practice this a few times a day for 2-3 minutes at a time. Okay, you can do this on the toilet. You can do this while you're laying in bed. You can do this, I do this while I'm sitting in traffic. Okay, so you need to practice this just so your body gets used to the way that it feels. Okay, and you can do this, during your meditation, if you meditate, during your spiritual practice. You'll see a lot of people do that like this on airplanes a lot. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to do this when you feel triggered and you want to eat foods, okay? When that emotional part of your brain is kicking in, that's when you want to practice this. So your brain can relate to I'm calm and I'm okay when this food or this temptation is around. It's not going to make the desire for that food to go away, but you're going to be able to cope with it. Does that make sense? But you have to practice. What else is great is if you have children and they're throwing fits and a temper tantrum, you can actually sit them on your lap with their back to your chest and just put your hand over their forehead and just apply some pressure, because it's engaging the nerve endings in their forehead, which goes straight to their parasympathetic nerves, okay? And it will help them to calm down. So that is the first one that I want to share with you. And these are all scientific, like what is happening in your brain. It's real stuff, people. Okay, so but you've got to practice. And it takes time to have this become your natural habit. And so you have to be intentional about practicing these things. You got to do the work with everything else that happens in your life. You got to do the work. Okay, so thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.